me, but hell, I'm going to go do it. I'm running into the same thing now. One job just doesn't cut the mustard anymore. And I'm a one job household as far as I'm concerned. I mean, my wife has to stay home with the kids. It's just not advantageous to have to spend all that money in child care just for her to be able to go to work. It doesn't work. So that means that, hey, I may have to get a second job just to make ends meet. I'm not looking for a handout or a bailout or anything like that, but a lot of people do. And unfortunately, we're coming upon a time, not just in the United States, but in Europe. They've had a long string of socialist-type governments, and now it's time to pay the bill. And there's a lot of suffering. There's going to be a lot of cuts. And the same thing goes in this country. If they go ahead and cut the stuff that they're talking about cutting, you're going to have a lot of angry son-of-a-guns that do not know how to survive without that social safety net.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's going to be really ugly.
Yeah, it can be. Now, do I have any doubt that they're going to raise the debt limit? No. I don't doubt it for a second. Of course they're going to raise a debt limit. This is all pomp and circumstance.
No kidding. It's laughable. They just do whatever they damn well please. They don't care what the American people think. They don't care how much it's going to cost. They don't care what the demise of this country is or how quickly it comes. They don't. I mean, I call Washington, D.C., and I write to my legislators almost on a weekly basis. I'm on a first-name basis with the staff in John Thune's office in D.C., and I get so much mail from Senator Johnson, the postman probably thinks I'm having an affair with the guy. I mean, it's like, it's futile. I mean, Senator Johnson thinks that he's representing a democracy, for God's sakes. How retarded is that?
I know. Nobody knows.
I called his office one day and I said, I finally discovered what the problem in our country is. And this woman said, well, what is it? And I said, we have a whole Senate full of people, just like Senator Johnson, who think they're representing a democracy instead of a republic.
Mm-hmm.
Tell him to look it up. Jeez.
Absolutely. No, I'm right there with you. Now, here's something interesting. Speaking of all that, now we know that Obama had put out his birth certificate, and what's interesting is my wife and I were looking at it, and she knows how to do Photoshop and all that kind of stuff, and she says, "This thing's Photoshopped." I said, "How the hell can you tell that?" And she showed me where and where. Well, unfortunately for Mr. Obama, and I don't know how much traction this is going to gain, but Jerome Corsi, who wrote the book about Obama and his past, is going to introduce the person that actually photoshopped the birth certificate.
Oh my God! How funny is that?
Yeah, Dr. Corsi reports the key person is in the media. Also, more explosive details revealed during today's interview on InfoWars radio show, and this was on Alex Jones. And anybody, you got to listen to this, regarding Obama's destroyed birth records in Kenya and more. Yeah, of course. But let me ask you something, guys. Does it matter?
No, it doesn't.
Because if anything, you'd think that there would be a lot of outrage in Indiana or Kentucky about their loss of their Fourth Amendment right. Oh, wait a minute. People would have to know what the Fourth Amendment is to understand that they've been wronged. And that's what I'm... Here you've got, okay, let's see. The Fourth Amendment, gone. I mean, we knew that the Constitution's been dead for quite a while now. And as a matter of fact, I heard an argument the other day that the Constitution doesn't apply to the states. And at one point in time, I think I said this on the last show, at one point in time it didn't apply to the states. But thanks to our superstars in the Supreme Court over the years. Now it does through something called incorporation. And the Fourth Amendment does apply to the states, and it applies to you in that they cannot, the government, police, anybody, cannot go into your house, search it, go through your belongings or anything without a warrant. But now, in Indiana and Kentucky, they can do so. As a matter of fact, Indiana sheriffs are already talking about doing door-to-door searches. Isn't that nice?
Well, that's just unbelievable to me.
Well, where's the outrage? You know, here we have a president that clearly is not eligible to be president. Where's the outrage? The Fourth Amendment's gone. Where's the outrage? What is it going to take for people to take ownership of their country and take it back? You know, my wife was saying it the other day. She says, you know, this is crazy. I mean, people need to grab their guns and go and freaking take Washington back. Take the country back. I said, that's good. Okay, I'll go grab mine. I'm on my way. Oh, wait a minute. You know, well, if that's what it's going to take, then it's going to mean sacrifice. You know, the Founding Fathers sacrificed everything. Everything. And not just them, but everybody that went along with them. Good Lord, man. I mean, it's crazy. But that's the type of sacrifice that it's going to take in order to right the ship. And I just don't think people have it in them. I really don't.
People are way too self-serving and selfish. And, you know, when Griff says take care of self and family, you know, he comes from a real genuine place about take care of yourself, because if you don't have your stuff together, you're not going to be able to help anyone else. He's not saying that in a selfish sense, just worry about yourself. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
But that's where people are now. I mean, just in general, it's all about me. Everything is all about me. You know, it used to be when someone new moved into the neighborhood, you take a hot dish over, introduce yourself, you know, ask if they needed anything, meet the kids, introduce the kids. We don't even have neighborhoods like that anymore. You know, we have these little robots in and out, you know, 8 to 5, and, you know, oh, don't play with them. Or they're not even available to play with because they get out of school and they go to karate or they go to sports, and then when they get done with sports, they go to a fast food restaurant, and then they go to their karate lessons, and by the time they come home, you know, they're so exhausted that they don't even come out of their house, you know. Our kids have all these activities all the time to keep them preoccupied, and it's just sickening. It's sickening to me. You know, I don't know what the answer is. Believe me, I don't have an answer. I only have that answer for my own life as best I can, which is I work on my own terms in my own home. I homeschool my child. I don't, you know, I don't participate. I tell you, I'm glad that I'm prepped, because I'm not going to be calling 911. And I'm not going to be going down and asking the government for a handout. You know, whatever.
No, I know. John King, you got something to add there, buddy?
Yes, I just want to let all the people in the chat room know that for tonight's drawing, for the Survivor Bay 1 month all-access guest pass, you must be registered with Blog Talk. Guests that come in are not eligible. We need a username to associate the account with. And the next draw will be in approximately 6 or 7 minutes. So you just have time to register with Blog Talk and get your butts back in here for the first round of the drawing.
Oh, very good. You know, Gwen, what I found in speaking about that, you know, and the children, with public school, my son came home with more homework than he did actually doing stuff at school. So the actual learning of the material was done at home. And I actually became more of a teacher than anything, which is why we were like, well, hell, if I'm going to have to do this, and he's got 4 and 5 hours of homework a night, and this was when he was in the 6th grade, then I think we're going to just go about this ourselves and homeschool, because why? So I even had the idea of going and analyzing his day, going and taking down, well, what's he doing here, what's he doing there, what's he doing? Because, I mean, my son was flailing big time and struggling mightily in school. As a matter of fact, the Virginia SOLs, man, he tanked them like you wouldn't believe. And what I come to find out is, A, all they do during the year is teach to the standardized test at the end of the year. Over half of their time in the classroom is spent testing to prepare for the big test. And then the rest of the time was spent, you got homeroom, you got lunch, you got phys ed, you got study period. So it left about, I'd say anywhere from 2 to 2.5 hours of actual teaching that was being done out of the school day. And I said, no wonder the kid can't freaking grasp this stuff. No wonder he's coming home and I'm having to show him how to do all this stuff. Hey, half the stuff I didn't even know how to do. And I had to kind of refresh my memory on a lot of it. But if I was going to have to go do that, well, then I'm just going to homeschool him. But, I mean, that's what we're dealing now with public school, and the fact that, there a lot of families they're not families anymore. These kids go there, and they go home, and parents just don't give a crap, either because they don't give a crap or because they're so busy that they really can't give as much of a crap as they'd want to. And it's a real sad state of affairs that this country's in. I don't know. I look to see where a turning point would be, or if there's any sort of spark, and I just don't see it at all. I mean,
yeah.
Do you guys at all? I mean, because I'm just not seeing it.
I'm not either. Yeah.
Nope.
It's a real sad state of affairs. That's all I can say. And like I said, I would love to think that there will be something that actually gets people, slaps them, and say, "Oh wow, I was asleep at the wheel here. What the hell happened?" But I can't see it. The only way I can see there being some sort of a revival to the old ways is if the government itself comes crashing down and a new one's put in its place, something that's more akin to the way the framers actually intended it to be. I mean, outside of that, I just don't see it. I really don't, and it's getting to be a very, very sad state of affairs out there. Matter of fact, another story. Father-in-law comes over because it's Sunday, and he comes to me. He says, "Hey, man, look at this. I paid $3.37 for gas today." So you're happy about that? He says, "Yeah, man. I mean, every other place is like $3.80, $3.73, and anywhere around there." I said, "Do you see what you're falling into? It. You're falling into that cycle." "Yeah, man. Yep. Wow, this is great. $3.37. Woohoo! All right."
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's fantastic. No, it's not. That's freaking deplorable.
Two steps forward, one step back. That's how they go.
Yeah. Were you going to say something, Gwen?
Well, I just think that again, the whole thing with the gas prices, everybody wants to blame the oil companies. How many people out there took any type of personal responsibility for reducing their use, from taking a cloth bag to the store to do your grocery shopping, to turning down their thermostat 5 degrees? They're not going to freaking freeze to death, but it'd save a hell of a lot of propane or oil or whatever you're using your electricity. It all takes oil. Who grows their own food so it doesn't have to be trucked in? Who did one damn thing to reduce the use and our dependency on oil? Who did that?
But Gwen, that would mean that people actually give a crap about what's going on, and or